Currently there's no organization in these drawers, they're just big open boxes. So what I want to do is create bays in here for each of the different types of cutlery. These are the 5 main pieces, but I do have more pieces to go inside here, so I want to make the best use of this space. I brought the drawer into my workshop so I can work out the dimensions for the drawer organizer. I'm using 1/2 inch material, this is maple, and it's thin enough that it doesn't look chunky, but not too thin that it won't hold nails and risk splitting when I put it together. So I'm going to lay this out with paper and work out the dimensions using cutlery. I've got these bays where I want them, but I also have to consider how I'm going to put this in the drawer. So this is the outside, this is not part of the drawer, and this is not part of the drawer. What I want to do is put this insert in a way I don't have to nail it to the drawer. So I want it to fit snugly in. So I've got a point here to here that'll lock it in front to back, but I don't have something side to side, so I think I'll put in a divider somewhere about here to provide that tension. And then down here I need these dividers to anchor into something. So what I'll need to do is run a board across here that I can attach these into. And then the same thing with these, I don't want these moving around, so I need to attach a board here to go up to that corner. So the idea is that these points here are giving me some tension that this should just slide in and be snug. I prefer not to put holes in the side of a drawer, so this way, if for some reason I decide to change this in the future, the drawer doesn't have holes in it. Now it may look odd that I haven't put the knife this way, but in my experience, the knife can cause damage in the wood or even plastic dividers when I've had these in previous drawers. Because that drawer is shifting frontward and backward, it's doing this all the time. By putting them this way, I prevent that damage and prevent that wear and tear over time. The last step in this plan is just to take the dimensions and write them down here, and then I've got all my measurements for cutting. So with all these parts cut, I can just lay them into spots here. And that one here. This one across the bottom. Long one here. Oh, that's a little shorter than I wanted. Okay, so these need to shuffle a bit. And then this one goes across here. And then these two I need to fit. So if I've got these lined up right, I do. This one needs to be trimmed off here, this one trimmed off here, these two trimmed to fit, and then one back here, and we're good to go. Okay, so this one goes here. These two go in here. that goes here. So this is the last one here to mark and cut. Okay, so that's the last part. What I want to do is make these a little more user-friendly. Putting cutlery in here, it's kind of narrow, especially with bigger hands. So what I want to do is take this and cut away a piece here to sort of scallop the edges, and that will make it more accessible and easier to get to the cutlery. So to create nice curves, what I do is I measure in this case, 1 7/8 inches. Measure in from both sides. And then I take a round object. I'm just using a lid here from a container. Line it up on either point here. And then just trace around it. So this is what I'm going to cut out. And then round over. I can now clamp my piece to the bench and start cutting with a jigsaw. With these pieces now cut, I need to sand them with a belt sander and get them all smooth. There are a few different ways to sand this profile. One is a spindle sander, another is a drum sander and a drill press, but more commonly people have belt sanders. So I'll show you how I clamp that to the work surface here and use that. I use two pieces as I do this work. The bottom piece is adding a space between the workbench and the belt sander. The top piece is what's making contact with the belt. As I work my way along, I'm working towards a pencil line that I left when I cut the line. So I didn't cut the line with a jigsaw right to the line, I left just a little bit that I could sand off. And that way I'm getting the exact profile that I'm looking for. I haven't sped this up at all because I want to show you how quickly this can get done. This is an 80 grit belt and it's on maple, so it's fairly hard. So I've done 3 passes here and you can see that it doesn't take very long to do this job. With these curves now smooth, it's just a matter of rounding over the edges here with sandpaper and getting it ready for assembly. I'm going to put all this together with both nails and screws. I'm going to put 2 screws in the front of each of these just to lock this in really tight. I'm going to use an air nailer and just put nails in these sections here, but I have to put this together in the right sequence. I can't get in here if these parts are here. So these have to be out of the way to get this together, and then I can attach this and this in here, and then I can come back in and finish that. If you don't have an air nailer, you can use a very small drill bit to drill a pilot hole and then drive your nail in. That'll make it much easier using something as hard as maple. So I'm going to assemble this and then start putting the finish on. I gave it one final sand to get rid of all my pencil marks, and now I'm ready for the finish. I'm putting on a water-based urethane. These go on very easily. If you want to see more finishes, you can check out some of our finishing videos on our channel. With the drawer organizers in place now, I'll walk you through the kitchen makeover. We started off with a kitchen with worn finishes on the cabinets and broken tile on the floor. We took down the cabinets and donated those to Habitat for Humanity. We ripped up the tile floor and the underlay. We also took down the backsplash, which ended up taking off the drywall with it. So it's a bit of a mess. But starting on a good clean slate, I ended up using that opportunity to do some wiring for the under cabinet lighting. We started putting it all back together by patching the walls and putting down the hardwood flooring. We used a medium stained hickory flooring, which matched our living room. We had Mason Custom Kitchens build and install this cabinetry, and the two details I really like are the traditional Raylan style door, as well as this door flush trim at the bottom and at the top. It gives it a more classic look and a traditional feel that we were looking for. The cabinet company was able to match the crown molding we had in the room and wrap that around the cabinets to really give it a built-in look. And one thing I'd recommend is getting a counter depth fridge. It really reduces the bulkiness you get from regular fridges. I did the wiring to make sure I had a light switch built right in. It really gives it a clean look. On the Peninsula, we added more depth, and that gives us more working space in and around the sink. On the backs and the ends of cabinets, we made sure we had finished panels to give it a nice, clean, built-in look. And of course, no modern kitchen would be finished without having some soft close hinges and high-quality hardware. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'd like to encourage you to subscribe with the link over here. If you subscribe and click on the bell icon, you'll get notified when our next videos come out. Until next time, enjoy your time.